Everyone, this is the second video for the second page of the semester review for Algebra 1. The first question wants you to find the intercepts of the line perpendicular to that has a new y-intercept of 4. If b is equal to 4, that's the y-intercept. And the question wants you to find both intercepts. So by both, that means the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So the x-intercept, we're going to have to solve for that. That's going to take a little bit of time. But the y-intercept, we already know that that's going to be equal to 4. Or you can put the 0.04 for the y-intercept. Okay, for the perpendicular line, that means we have to change that slope and we have to make it negative. The y is equal to 8 and negative. 1/8 flipped over is 8 over 1, which is just 8. And then we're going to make it negative. We have x plus 4. Okay, so then for the x-intercept, we're going to put 0 for x is equal to negative 8x plus 4. We will cancel out the 4 by subtracting it to the left. We will cancel out the negative 8 times x by dividing by negative 8. And that's going to give us that x is equal to 1/2. So the x-intercept is going to happen at 1/2, 0. When we're graphing this next one, you graph it by finding the intercepts. So that means we will plug in 0 for y, solve for x, that means 12 divided by 6 to get 2. 2 is one of the intercepts. And then you put 0 for the other, so 0 for x, 6 times 0 is 0. 12 divided by 60, 12 divided by 60 would be 1/5. So that's just barely positive. So in the end, we will get a line something like that. You should use some sort of straight edge, but I'm writing on my computer screen and I don't have that. In number 12, it wants us to solve for the intersection. Like I showed in yesterday's video, the intersection happens when the y's are equal to each other. Let's go ahead and distribute. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 0.45. It's going to make a positive. 4 times 5 makes a 0. Carry the 2. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 2 means 18. There are 2 decimal places, so that's 1.80x equals 1/5. X minus 10. Both sides have positive x's, but since the one on the right is smaller, that's the one I'm going to be subtracting. So I'm going to subtract 1/5 x from both sides. But before I do that, I'm going to also add the 4 to the right side, so that way I can just get rid of 2 steps at once. Now I have 1.8x minus 1/5. 1/5 as a decimal is going to be 0.2. So 1.8 minus 0.2 is 1.6x equals negative 6. When I divide both sides by 1.6, I get x equals negative 3.75. Now let's go to the next one. What is the range of g of x from 0 to 4? So what that means is, if we are going to graph this question, and we're going to graph it from the x's that are 0 up until the x's that are 4, if we're just going to snip that part of a graph, what would be the lowest y and what would be the highest y within that interval? So to figure that out, we just need to plug in 0 and see what happens, and plug in 4 and see what happens. G of 0 would be equal to 0 plus 2 plus 0 plus 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. G of 4 means we're going to plug in 4 everywhere that there's x. So negative 18 times 4 is negative 72. plus 2 minus, no, that's a plus. 10 times 4 is 40 plus 6. These first two are going to make a negative 70 plus 46. Combine those, and it's going to be a negative 24. All right, so we got that negative 24 right there. That means that out of those two possible x's, when you plug in 0, the y was 8, and when we plugged in 4, the y was negative 24. So negative 24 is the lowest y within that interval, and 8 was the highest y. So we have our y's, and they're going to be between, and they can be equal to, 8 is the maximum, and negative 24 is the minimum. Write an equation that's parallel to that standard form one. Let's go ahead and solve this for y. So I'm going to add 3y to the right, and I'm going to subtract this 7 from the left. 4x cannot be combined with the 7. Negative 3y plus 3y balances out. And on the right, all we have is 3y. Now we're going to divide by 3 to each piece to get 4/3 x minus 7/3 equals y. If we want something parallel to this, that means we need to keep the slope and change that. So let me just write a new equation that has y is equal to 4/3 x plus anything. I'll put 2. You can make the y-intercept anything just as long as it's parallel and has the same slope. 5 more than twice. 5 plus twice x equals 7 times y. Done. Parallel to a slope of 5 and a y-intercept of negative 3. We want the y-intercept to be negative 3, and we want it to be parallel to a slope of 5. So y equals 5x minus 3. That was sure difficult. Not. Write a parallel equation to this, but do it in standard form. If we want it to be parallel, then we want the same slope, but just the different y-intercept. So you should pick a different number for this, for b. And if it's going to be standard form, we want x and y to be on the same side. So I'm going to subtract the 2x to the left. The 4 stays where it is. And the last thing I need to do, well, sometimes you need to, sometimes you don't, but in our textbook it says the x part should be positive, so I need to change the sign of everything. I need to multiply everything by -1, and that's going to change everything's sign. -1 times -2x makes positive 2x. -1 times y makes a negative y. -1 times 4 makes -4. And so this would be one example of a standard form parallel equation. Last question. Identify 2 ordered pairs that are solutions. So that means all we need is we need to put in 2 x's and y's so that the left side is greater than the right side. The easiest way to do this is going to be to simplify it. So let's distribute the -4. -4y plus 20 is less than -12 and a 3x. Then, why don't we just go ahead and change this into slope-intercept form? So let me subtract 20. 3x minus 32 is greater than -4y. Then let's divide by 4, -4. And since that's a -4 we're dividing by, we have to change the way the sign's pointing. That's going to be a -3/4 x plus 8. So that is my inequality. Then, if I want 2 solutions, yes, you could You could just guess a random x and y, but let's just go ahead and finish graphing this. We have a y-intercept of +8. We have a slope of -3/4. We are less than, so we are not less than or equal to. Let me change this to dotted line, dashed line. And now I just need to see, should I shade the bottom part or the top part? So let's plug in 0 and 0. Is 8 less than 0? Is 8 less than 0? We use the test point. No, it's not. So we need to shade this side, which means we need numbers that are higher than this line. So 2 points that would probably be higher would be, well, if the y-intercept is 8, then if I make a number that's a little bit above 8, like 0.9, that would be a solution. And if I pick something that's like way over here, like maybe 100, that's going to be another thing that's a solution. If you want me to check it, let's check it. Let me write the original thing. 3x minus 12 greater than -4 y minus 5. Let's put 0 for x. Let's put 9 for y. That would make -12 greater than -16. When we're doing negative numbers, the more negative it is means the smaller it is. So this is true. Then let's put in 100, 100. So 3 times 100 is 300 minus 12 greater than -4. 100 minus 5 is 95. This is going to be a positive 288 greater than -4 times 95. I don't need to find that answer because there's one negative sign and the other one's positive. So this is going to be something that's negative, and 288 is going to be greater than any negative number because the negative number is very low. It's below 0. It's less than 0. 288 is greater than a negative number. We're done. You could have picked any ordered pairs that were just true when you plug them in. I just chose to graph it so that I have a better idea of what to pick and could do less guessing. I hope that helped.